Minority threatens dragging government to court if the agreement is not brought to Parliament for ratification. All these details plus President Mahama unveils plan to feed senior high school students with locally grown rice as plans are underway to establish a modern rice mill in the northeast region. More, as he says, the project will also provide jobs for over 2,000 people and help Ghana reduce Ghana's dependency on rice imports. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Please stay with me for details. Starting now, 7 students from Lawra Senior High School are feared dead after their boat capsized on the Black Volta River at Dikpe while attempting to cross the Burkina Faso. The tragic incident occurred during what was supposed to be a routine morning jogging session. According to reports, 10 students had gone for their morning exercise but unexpectedly decided to travel to Burkina Faso. Their boat overturned mid-journey, plunging all occupants into the river. And let's speak to Dixon Desire, who works for our partner station, Lawra FM. Dixon, thanks for joining us on Joy News. What can you tell us about exactly what led to the boat capsizing?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Dixon Desire, Lawra FM. For this morning, we woke up to very sad news. I rushed to the riverside, and information I picked is that this morning the Lawra Senior High School cadet team decided to embark on their usually routine jogging. Unfortunately, midway, I think a group of them decided that they should go to the riverside. That is the Black Volta. So they came down for the jogging. When they go to the riverside, a boat that transported people across from the Burkina side crossed to the Ghana side, offloaded some goods, and was then traveling back. The students decided to join. But usually, the boats that transport people and goods from this our side, Ghana side, are very small that they can't carry much load. Usually, they take maximum 7 people in a boat. But you know, students, they decided to join 10 plus the boat operator making 11. According to sources, the operator did not even agree, but they forced their way in. This morning, too, it was threatening to rain. So there was this wind blowing. So midway in the middle of the river, wind blew and then the boat dangled. Those that have never joined boat became afraid. So they tried jumping into the river, and that caused the boat to capsize.
So what I'm hearing from you is that it's not normal. Oh, go ahead, finish.
As I'm talking to you currently, they've retrieved 5, leaving 7. Because after the boat capsized, I'm told 3 people managed and then swam out. And then the rest capsized inside. They couldn't come out. So they've actually retrieved 5 dead bodies now, leaving 2, which are ladies.
So you're saying we have retrieved 5 bodies, confirmed dead, and 2 missing as we speak?
Yes, as we speak. 5 has been retrieved, confirmed dead, and then 2 are yet to be retrieved. And looking at the water, it's actually, if you look at the place, it looks shallow, but it's actually not shallow. The team now is exhausted, and they've called for reinforcement from Bagre. We have some group that are also there who also help in sometimes these incidents. So they are currently here from Bagre to also assist.
Dixon, what can you tell us about whether or not these students know how to swim, considering it's normal for them to take a boat in and out of town?
No, from the people I talk to, especially those at the riverside who usually transport these people, these are students who don't know how to swim at all. They don't know how to swim. They don't know how to swim.
Well,
I think they just saw the boat and thought it was an advantage for those who have actually never experienced the boat ride. They just wanted to also enjoy or maybe experience the boat ride and decided to just jump into the boat to cross. They don't actually know how to swim.
All right. What have you gathered from the families of the bodies that have been confirmed dead as we speak?
Yes, these are students coming from different areas. I tried talking to the headmaster of the school, but he told me that looking at the situation now, he's very hot and will talk to us later. But he said they are trying to identify the students first so that they can inform their parents or invite their parents to come around so that the necessary action or steps that they are supposed to take, they can then do that. But for now, they are still identifying the students. Those that have been retrieved, the 5, they've identified them and they are inviting the parents to come so that they will then see the next step to take.
Okay, so the 5 bodies have been confirmed dead and they are waiting for identification before they can be dispatched to their various families.
Yes, the 5 bodies have been confirmed dead. The police have carried the dead bodies to the morgue. That is Lawra Hospital, Lawra Mortuary.
Well, Dixon Desire from Lawra FM, thank you so much for bringing us details all the way from Lawra. In other news, former Tourism Minister Andrew Ejapa-Mensah has faulted the John Mahama government over the impact of the strike by nurses and midwives on Ghana's health sector, describing government action as insensitive, callous and dismissive towards the situation. According to former MP for Second D, the government refused to capture the demands of the nurses in the 2025 budget, prioritizing the protection of the economy over the lives of Ghanaians. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, here is First Vice President, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Samuel Akogo, who accuses the government of not being forthright with them. He spoke on Newsfile a while ago.
The people expect that you will go and articulate their views to whoever that is supposed to respond. Now, if you go to present their case, in our case, our employer, it is expected that something measurable should be given to the leader so that he can carry it back to the people and said, in the discussions, this is where we have reached. But if that is not forthcoming, and you know human beings, the conspiracy theories are many. Oh, the minister is their friend. They just go and then they are deceiving us. So it will get to a stage where even the membership doesn't believe whatever you are saying. And when it gets to that point, there is so much pressure on you to demonstrate that you are really committed to their welfare.
So did you exhaust the engagement? That's the question.
When you say exhaust, it is, there is nothing like you have exhausted the engagement. Whether the engagement were bringing out something that we can take away and go and present to our members, that is where the issue was. And for the minister, he was available for us all the time. When we strike a meeting with him, he's always there. But in the meeting, it is just pure assurance. Trust me, I will do it. You can't go and tell your members that the minister said we should trust him.
We can now listen to former Member of Parliament for Second D, Lawyer Mensah, who is criticizing government of not prioritizing the health of Ghanaians.
Essential service workers. But if the rule also requires government to act in a certain way and they don't, I don't think that going to equity necessarily will mean that, you can go with dirty hands. You ought to go with clean hands. And so we need to look at it and situate the expectation.
When equity is not done to you, you break the law.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that we need to look at the issues and situate the expectation from both ends in the proper context so that we do not get situations like the one that we had over the past 12 or so days, which, as far as I'm concerned, was needless. We should never have gotten there. I, in my view, think that government was insensitive. They were just callous. They were dismissive of the issues and nonchalantly handled the entire matter. Not surprising because they go to private hospitals, right? And when push comes to shove, they are shipped off to Europe to attend better medical services. So the people of Ghana necessarily ought to suffer, and the kind of posturing that you saw government officials put up. Government communicators went out insulting these nurses as if to say they were at fault. When
he also says the government must solve the situation with the mid-year budget, which is yet to be presented to Parliament.
Indeed, and in fact, it was government that refused to capture the provisions that have been agreed on as far back as May 2024 in the 2025 budget. It was nobody's fault. And if you listen to the Minister for Government Communication last few days when I heard him on a show with Evans, I was surprised that he says that they were protecting the economy. You put the economy over and above the lives of Ghanaians who potentially can lose their lives when strike actions of this nature take place. Listen to the Deputy Minister for Finance. They cannot accommodate 2 billion to put the economy in disarray. Seriously? So people should die? Is that what the government of Ghana is telling
Retired nurses may help.
Nobody came to.
You're calling on retired nurses to step in when the duty to make provision for these sums. And look, Samson, many a time we are quick to pass the buck that, it was negotiated by the previous government. What does it mean?
Former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Yankson, is calling on governments to be fair with nurses by giving them what they are due.
OPD, as far as we are concerned, within the health sector, a very key part of our operations, but it is not the most critical. So usually, when these strikes are happening, you realize that the first area, which is like the low-hanging fruit, where most likely very little by way of casualties will happen, it's the OPD. So kindly hold on. So usually you see that it starts with the OPD withdrawal, which offers government or the employer enough room to deal with the issues.
Which they did for 5 days.
Yes.
5 days.
Post that, then the critical areas, emergencies, as in the emergency rooms, the wards, the theaters, the ICUs are all deserted. And that is where most of the deaths will even occur.
So your point is that for the first 5 days, they should have resolved this issue.
Exactly.
Because they have not done a total withdrawal.
Yes, but you sat and got to a point where we had a total withdrawal.
I don't think...
You see, kindly hold on. You see, I have experienced these things. And I think that as a nation, we should begin to look at the way we do things. Look, for me, in as much as nobody advocates that we should have strikes in the health sector, as and when it happens, people talk about the legality or otherwise of it. I always have my view. Something knows. Maybe we'll discuss it later. However, the moment the strikes happen, if we ultimately prioritize the lives of every Ghanaian, I tell you what, we should be able to resolve the issues within 2-3 days.
Even if the strikes happen in breach of law, we should still
when you say breach of law, now let me address this. I always disagree with you because, see, the employment contract is one of service, not slavery.
That's correct.
Now, if you have a situation where government or the employer wants to hide behind so-called legalities. I'm saying so-called legalities in the sense that the very prescriptions in the Labor Act that put certain mandates on you, the employer, you refuse to do them. So that in itself is a breach of that contract from your end.
Meanwhile, Economic Policy Advisor at the Office of the Vice President, Dr. Khalid Sharif, is asking for the nurses to understand the government's approach to the current situation. In other stories, President Mahama has announced government's plans to soon feed senior high school students with locally grown rice from the Northeast region, as plans are underway for a construction of a modern rice mill. The project will also provide jobs for 2,000 people and help reduce Ghana's dependency on rice imports. Speaking during his thank you tour to the Northeast region, the president also said he's tasked the CEO of Ghana Exim Bank to complete the Wale Wale watermelon factory and prepare it for commissioning as soon as possible. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more.
The thank you tour brought together government officials, traditional leaders, the clergy, and residents to the Nalerugu Automotive. The registrar of the Mamprugu Traditional Council, who read the speech on behalf of the president of the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs, Indugna Nairi Na Buhuku Abdullah Sheriga, commended the Mahama administration for its handling of the economy.
Your visit comes at a time that Ghana is turning a new leaf, navigating the tides of global uncertainty while laying bold economic transformation. This reflects not only a renewed stability, but also growing confidence in the Ghana city. This is as a result of prudent economic management and resilience of our national economy.
In his speech, President Mahama announced plans to construct a modern rice milling facility in the Northeast region. He has instructed the National Buffer Store Company to procure rice produced there for senior high schools. Additionally, the president has directed the CEO of the Ghana Exim Bank to expedite the completion of the Walewale watermelon factory and ensure it is ready for commissioning in the shortest possible time.
I've asked the CEO of the Ghana Exim Bank to continue and complete the Walewale watermelon factory and prepare it for commissioning as soon as possible. In addition, I'm pleased to announce to you that with support from the World Food Program, we're going to establish a modern rice mill in Jadima in the Mamprugu Mwaduri district. This project is expected to process over 30,000 metric tons of locally grown rice annually, and it will create over 2,000 jobs with a focus on women and children and youth. It will also reduce post-harvest losses and then anchor a local rice value chain that will reduce our import dependence. When this rice mill is completed, I have asked the National Buffer Stock Company to procure all the rice that will be produced there. We'll pay for it and buy it and supply it to our secondary schools to feed our children.
President Mahama says he has instructed the military to provide armed escort and protection for all vehicles traveling in the Boku area, particularly along the Boku Pulmankum Bolgatanga Road and the Walewale Bolgatanga Highway.
I was last week with His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, and he briefed me on the progress being made to achieve a lasting peace in Boko. I want to thank my father, the Nairi, for the important roadmap to peace that he presented for consideration by the Otumfuo. I'm sure the traditional solutions we are seeking to the Boko crisis will offer us the opportunity for a sustainable peace very soon. Meanwhile, as Commander-in-Chief, I have instructed the armed forces to provide armed escort and protection to all vehicles traveling within the Boko area, along the Boko Pulmakum Bolgatanga corridor, and also along the Walewale Bolgatanga corridor. And I wish to inform the registrar that the trucks of food that were stranded have been escorted and they are no longer in Bolgatanga. They have reached their destination safely.
He says the Nalerugu College of Nursing and Midwifery is one of the institutions selected for upgrading into a degree awarding institution. He announced nursing and teacher trainees will begin receiving the allowances from next month.
The Nalerugu College of Nursing and Midwifery is one of the colleges that has been selected for upgrading into a degree awarding institution. And I can assure you, your alawa is being worked on. And by next month, you will start receiving payments.
The president assured residents of the Northeast region that power fluctuations in part of the region will soon be a thing of the past.
I'm aware of the persistent power fluctuations in the eastern zones of this region. As part of the National Energy Expansion Plan, we're going to prioritize the looping of the Pualugu substation, which will help stabilize the supply and prevent the kind of outages that is crippling small businesses and affecting households in the Northeast region. I can assure you very soon your power fluctuation will be a thing of the past. We're also prioritizing work on the Pualugu Multipurpose Dam to serve its intended objective of flood control, power generation, and irrigated agriculture. Moreover, in line with our 2025 budget commitments, we're going to invest in mini-grids and solar extensions. We'll expand energy access to off-grid communities.
Moving on, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has deferred ruling on Minority Leader Alexander Akpanyo-Markin's private member motion inviting him to overturn First Deputy Speaker Bernard Ahiafo's earlier ruling in March 2025. Bernard Ahiafo's ruling blocked a Parliament probe into the current government's mass dismissal of employees until a substantive matter pending a court is determined. But the Minority Leader on Friday moved a motion asking the Speaker to overturn that earlier decision. And James Aveji was on that beat and reports now.
The Minority Leader during the previous proceedings on March 5, 2025, moved a motion asking the First Deputy Speaker, who was presiding over affairs on the day, to constitute a committee for Parliament to look into the mass dismissal of government employees by the current government under the letter signed by the Chief of Staff. The motion was opposed by the Majority Leader, Mahama, and that objection was sustained by the First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, who insisted that because the matter has been sent to court by Nanabe, the national organizer of the NPP, Parliament need not look into it until the court makes a final determination on it. But during proceedings this Friday, the Minority Leader has moved another private motion asking Speaker Alban Bagbin to overturn that ruling of the First Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I dare contend that the ruling also creates a dangerous precedent. It weaponizes, it's a weaponization for litigation. And on this score, I do submit that the ruling's problematic logic creates a perverse incentive structure whereby any individual could effectively silence Parliament by filing a lawsuit touching upon matters of public debate. This represents a fundamental inversion of democratic accountability, placing the initiative for parliamentary agenda setting in the hands of private litigants rather than the people's elected representatives who labor in this august house. Such a vexatious system will be particularly vulnerable to abuse by those seeking to shield government actions from parliamentary scrutiny.
But this motion has been opposed by the Minority Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dapamekpo.
Mr. Speaker, Order 127 reads, Mr. Speaker, with your leave, a decision of the Speaker in respect of interruption of debate under Order 122 is not subject to review by the House, except on a substantive motion made on notice. Please. The motion that we are told is substantive is in respect of a decision taken by the First Deputy Speaker, who is not the Speaker, appropriately defined. Mr. Speaker, on these terms, the motion is resumed, is incompetent, it has no basis to be moved before this House.
I have not
Mr.
granted
Speaker,
you.
I so submit. It should not be tolerated.
Speaker Alban Bagbin, in deferring his ruling on the matter, made some preliminary comment on how the Minority Leader, then Majority Leader Alexander Akpanyo-Markin, took to the Supreme Court to compel him, the Speaker, to stay his decision to declare 4 seats vacant during the previous Parliament, insisting that until the Supreme Court makes a substantive ruling on the matter, he, Alban Bagbin, cannot proceed with that decision.
I intentionally admitted this motion for us to go through it. That even myself, the Minority Leader who moved the motion, versus the Speaker and the Attorney General, The then Supreme Court held the view that once he drew my attention to the pendency of the writ he issued, I should have proceeded the next day, 17th, to have read the statement I made concerning vacancy of the seats. It would have acted as an injunction. I differed from it. You will recall that the recent ruling of the Supreme Court took a different view. And that is why he has quoted copiously here. And so it's important for us to take time to go through this. And I'm happy that you are doing so.
Speaker Alban Bagbin is expected to make his full ruling on this matter as to whether to allow Parliament to look into the mass dismissal of employees by this government. From Parliament House here in Accra, James Aveji for Joy News.
Let's stay in Parliament because government risks litigation as the minority in Parliament threatens to drag the government to court if it fails to bring the renewed Goldfield mining lease to Parliament. Government in April 2025 finalized the agreement on transitional agreement or arrangements for the Damang mine to ensure its operations and job security while paving the way for eventual Ghanaian ownership. But Minority Whip Frank Anodompre reveals 2 months on, the agreement is yet to be brought for ratification.
You grant the lease, you extend it, you permit the company or corporate entity to mine, then late hour you bring the agreement to Parliament because you have 2/3 in Parliament and therefore you think that it's going to be rubber stamp. I think that is wrong. We must bring it to the attention of the Ghanaian people. We in the minority are expecting this agreement to come so that we will scrutinize the agreement. We cannot be just giving mining lease agreement to companies who will not mine responsibly, who will mine and also leave very far-reaching and devastating environmental effect on our environment. It is getting out of hand. It is high time we raise this matter again. And we don't have to overly simplify this matter into galamsey fight. I'm speaking to responsible mining, sustainable mining. I'm speaking to water body reclamations, and I'm speaking to land reclamation because there are interconnectivities. Land reclamation has effect on food security. Water body reclamation has effect on waterborne diseases that will affect us. When we leave lead and heavy metals in our water bodies, it will have a far-reaching effect. And most of them are very poisonous. Mercury and all these heavy metals will have effect on us. Government, hopefully maybe in their media, should make budgetary provisions to ensure there is land reclamation, there is water reclamation, and there is environmental sustainability by way of mining.
Well, he says they will take the matter to court if government fails to do the needful.
If they don't do it, there is a Supreme Court ruling. You remember the Ezom Quebec ruling from the Supreme Court. If they don't do it, then we'll test the law at the law court. But I will continue to speak about it. Business committee, I raised it. Presentation of business statement, I raised it twice. Now I'm speaking to the media. If it is the case that the majority leader has not communicated to His Excellency the President, this President will hear from us through the media. And we are hoping he will act.
Now, Ghana Water Limited has busted an illegal water connection syndicate that has been trading water in commercial quantities from 2 of its underground hydrants at Adenta in Accra. This crackdown follows a tip-off on the suspicious activities of the operators. Addressing the media in Accra, Communications Manager for the Water Company Limited, Nana Yao Bani, said their checks revealed a sharp discrepancy in the monthly bills paid by the customer compared to the volumes of water consumed by the household. Valentina Semenyo was on the grounds and filed this report.
When officials of the Ghana Water Company visited the premises, it uncovered a large-scale illegal connection to 2 of its hydrants and a hidden underground tank that stores water for resale. Explaining the act to the media, an engineer with the Ghana Water Limited, Engineer Dr. Hadisu Hassan, indicated the reported water consumption and billing figures was contradictory. He added that the incident exposes a major weaknesses in the company's monitoring and enforcement mechanism.
The interesting thing is that looking at the volumes of water they get here and the quantities they sell, the revenue they even pay is an insult to the company, because the kind of consumption they indicate they consume does not in any way match the level of operation they do here. If such an enterprise, as you've seen with the tanks here, paying bills around 400 cities, 500 cities, then it tells you something. Clearly, with what's happening now, activities of this nature can deny an entire community from having access to safe drinking water. So we see this as an assault on our efforts to get a much needed revenue to be able to expand our infrastructure and maintain our assets. I think the message is simple. To our own staff who get involved in these illegalities, your job is on the line and you would face possible prosecution when found culpable. To the general public who are involved in this, if we get you, we are going to fine you appropriately and let also the law take its course.
Communications Manager for the Water Company Limited, Nana Yao Barnier, urged the public to report suspicious water activities to prevent further abuse of the system.
In fact, what really baffles us as a company is the fact that our meter readers come here to read meter on a monthly basis. And they have seen these two hydrants. They cannot tell us that they have not seen these two hydrants. It is 72 cubic meters. For the whole month, 72 cubic meters. And if you calculate, in terms of bill, he's paying just about a little over 800 Ghana cedis. Such a thing cannot be done and the customer will pay something less than 1,000 Ghana cedis. That cannot happen. So members of the public, we are pleading with you to help us with information so that some of these things can be halted.
Valentina Semenyo's report, read to you.
The Upper West region continues to grapple with unemployment issues. The ripple effect is the increasing rate of migration of youth to the southern belt of the country in search of non-existent jobs. There is, however, hope for them as Prevailers Vocational Technical Institute, the first and only private TVET institute in Wa municipality, founded by Mary Wondo, has been established to fill the void. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam, who visited the institute, reports that despite the successes chalked, they need support to enable them, enable more students.
One of the biggest challenges faced by the country is the rising unemployment, particularly among esteemed youth. The challenge, which is considered to be a national security threat, is forcing government to look for alternative ways to solving the unemployment jigsaw puzzle. One of the ways is to form partnership with the private sector. The Prevailers Vocational Technical Institute, established some 14 years ago by Reverend Mary Wondo, is set out to complement the effort of the government in that regard. It is the only private vocational technical institute in the Wa municipality located at Wale Sombo.
This is the NC1, that is the National Certificate 1 class. They have given us 3 classes. So this is one of the classes you have seen here, and you have seen the type of machines we are using. They are not just small machines at all. We have here, we have the industrial machines, the electrical machines, we have the knitting machines and the buttonhole machines. And we have all the structures that you can see around us. We have everything well equipped and we are training them. They are here to bring our students to also start with the NP1, that is the National Proficiency 1 certificate.
Reverend Mary Wondo, who serves as the principal of the institute, revealed they run several courses in building construction technology, electrical engineering technology, fashion and designing technology, information and communication technology, and hospitality and catering management. Though she could not readily point to the number of students churned out over the years, she stated that they were in torrents.
We have trained a lot of students that some have also gone to universities, some polytechnics, some have established on their own. And we have seen that this school has made a lot of impact as far as the youth in this region and beyond.
Despite the success struck, Reverend Mary Wondo says she struggles to put her head above the water by going for loans to enable her carry on with her job. She claims it's a call from God.
We don't charge much because if you charge the students, they are not able to pay. Even the little that we are charging them in order to pay our facilitators, it has not been easy. So this school, though training people, but I'm investing a lot. I go in for loans to support the school to keep going. So for that matter, orphans are here which cannot pay school fees. We are training them. And because the school fees is so small, building infrastructure is very, very difficult for us.
She is appealing for support.
This is our plea to the government and to the NGOs and people that are concerned. This school, in actual fact, we have also started training the TVET NC1 students. This is our 3rd month as we are training them. So we actually want government to come in so that we can take more students. Most people want to come, but because of the structures, we are not able to engage more students. So if the government can come in this area to help us, and others can come in to see the good work that we are doing here, and then to support us, it will be very grateful.
Vice Principal of the Institute, Editor Edgar, further explained, apart from the technical and vocational knowledge acquired by the students, they also have moral lessons.
Our practical is standard and is unique, and our tuition is very, very excellent. And if your word complete here, you will not regret. When it comes to moral too, we teach them, we talk to them, we advise them, we take them as our own children.
2 final year students of the Institute spoke about how beneficial the Institute has been for them, urging colleagues to join the wagon. A former student of the Institute, Noni Elizabeth, who came to support the students with their practical courses, shared memories about her stint at the Institute.
I was the GP the year 2016 and 2017. I completed here with the good results. I went to the Polytechnic, that's Dr. Hilary Technical University, and I completed with the 2nd class upper. I came here to help them with their practicals, and very soon I will be coming here to see what they are doing, and I will be proud to be a teacher here too. So I'm inviting all those outside to try and come and get a skill trained from here. Here, when you come, we have everything that it takes to make you perfect outside there.
An examiner with the Commission for Technical and Vocational Institute, CTVET, Severa Mambo, shared her observation about the Institute.
They are actually prevailing. I can see a whole lot of works being done by students, and I think when they go into the job market, they can do greatly well.
It is a prayer and hope of Reverend Mary Wondo that if the Institute is given the needed support from government and non-government.
Flamingo paint, simply superior.
This is Joy Newsroom with me, Sweetie Abochi. Thanks for your patience, and to more stories now. Health Minister Kwabena Minta-Kando has raised concerns over the excessive spending of ministry funds on meetings and workshops by various committees. Speaking at the inauguration of the Pandemic Fund National Steering Committee, he urged members to prioritize tangible results and evidence over impact over frequent workshops. There's more.
I've been here a few months, and what I've realized is that we have funds, and the funds, a greater proportion of the funds are used for workshops. meetings. I hope this will not be business as usual. I will vehemently oppose to that. We are talking about system strengthening. We are talking about laboratory. We organize all the workshops in the world without having good laboratory, without having equipment in the laboratories. What have we done? So when there is pandemic, what do you do? I am not saying that workshops are not important. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that meetings are not necessary. Please don't get me wrong. But it's absolutely absurd to use more than 20% of the fund for meetings and workshops. We will have to have a consensus, a percentage that will go to workshops and meetings, so that we can use the money for the intended purpose to benefit the ordinary Ghanaian.
Now, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and the Hubei University of Automotive Technology in China are charting means to revolutionize Africa's automotive industry. Under the China-Africa Automotive Development Forum, scholars and experts in the automotive sector will embrace electric and smart technologies that support inclusive and sustainable growth. The aim is to consciously effect a paradigm shift and transition from traditional combustion technologies to smart, eco-friendly transportation.
According to the International Energy Agency, Ghana leads Africa with around 17,000 electric cars on the road. This sets an example for Africa to revolutionize transportation through sustainable and innovative technologies that prioritize green energy. The 2025 China-Africa Automotive Development Forum in Kumasi assembled scholars, innovators, policymakers, and entrepreneurs from Africa and China to share knowledge and showcase technologies for sustainable adoption. This year's forum is themed Intelligent Manufacturing of Lightweight Electric Vehicles. The Confucius Institute at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology serves as a key platform for the collaboration with Hubei University of Automotive Technology. The Pro-Vice Chancellor of KNUST, Professor David Asamoah, highlighted the institutional efforts adopted to heighten improvement in the automotive sector.
Together we are initiating steps towards the establishment of the International Joint Research Center for Advanced Automotive Energy Storage Materials and Systems, a landmark initiative that will shape the future of mobility on our continent.
President of Hubei University of Automotive Technology, Professor Wan, indicated that the conference on lightweight electric vehicle intelligent manufacturing would deepen the collaboration.
共建孔子学院以来，我们不仅搭起了语言文化交流的桥梁，更在汽车科技领域开创了专业加文化的特色合作模式。
Since the joint establishment of the Confucius Institute, we have not only built a bridge for language and cultural exchange, but also pioneered a distinctive cooperation model for major and culture in the field of automotive technology.
Director for Renewable Energy and Energy Transition, Engineer Seth Mahu, representing the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, says cooperated research and exchange will support mass adoption of electric mobility in Ghana and beyond.
Distinguished guests, Ghana is now ready for the next step, from assembling combustion vehicles to designing and producing electric vehicles, tailored for African roads, powered by African minds, and built with African hands.
President of the Ghana Association of Chinese Societies, Tang Hong, indicated that the automotive sector is a vital engine for economic growth. Ashanti Regional Minister Dr. Frank Amoakohene called for investment into infrastructure to make the shift and adoption seamless.
We recognize that the electric mobility to thrive, we must invest not just in vehicles, but also in skill, in policy framework, and in enabling infrastructure. That is why the regional leadership is actively engaging stakeholders to ensure that the local entrepreneurship and the technicians and graduates are ready to seize the emerging opportunity in the EV value chain.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabwa.
Medical authorities at St. Michael Hospital in the Ashanti region are seeking more clinical monitors to enhance care for critically ill patients and emergency cases. Presently, the hospital relies on 8 clinical monitors at the emergency and recovery wards that are assigned to patients based on the severity of their cases. Medical Director Dr. Samuel Yawedu has indicated, aside from monitors, that the facility is in need of other essential equipment to improve service delivery. Nana Ojima has more in this report.
The St. Michael's Hospital was upgraded to a hospital status in 1960 to cater for healthcare needs of people in Bosomtwe district and its environs. Over the years, the hospital has upgraded its facilities to offer some specialty care. Nonetheless, the 144-bed capacity hospital continues to grapple with equipment challenges which have negatively affected healthcare delivery. At the facility's emergency ward, medical monitors that display and tracks patients' vital signs and other parameters are inadequate, with the recovery ward encountering similar challenges. Dr. Samuel Yawedu indicated the hospital is in short supply of medical equipment for patient care.
The equipment, suction machines, patient monitors, delivery bed, in fact, is one of the things on our list as we speak. We're trying to procure them. The monitors, almost everybody, those on the ward, especially critical cases, emergency, recovery ward, neonatal ward, we all need monitors to help us manage them very well. We have some, but inadequate. As we speak, if you go to the emergency, I think we have 2. If you go to the recovery ward, we have about 6. We have, but not adequate.
The Catholic facility was established to provide social service to the people. Hence, some of the vulnerable people who are treated at the facility are unable to foot their bills. In some instances, the hospital relies on its Poor and Sick Fund to support such cases. Dr. Edu indicates the situation has negatively affected retooling efforts.
They come here without anything. Sometimes they can incur a debt. They don't even have insurance. They can incur debt to the tune of about 10,000, 14,000, 5,000, and they cannot even pay 1 cedi. And you can't keep them here.
Meanwhile, the Rotary Club of Kumasi has stepped in to provide some of the needed equipment for patient care. The group donated a delivery bed, patient monitors, and a suction machine to aid medical care. Nana Efia Osei Asamoah is president.
They had challenges with their maternal and child unit, so we came to support them with some medical equipment for their unit. We donated 1 delivery bed, patient monitors to support so we were in to assist them so that it will ease the pressure and the challenges that's being faced by the hospital.
For Joy News, Nana Yaljuma, Ashanti Region.
Let's stay in the Ashanti region for our last story of the bulletin, because Love FM High School's debate heats up as top schools advance to round of 16. After a week of intense intellectual battles, compelling arguments and spirited shutdowns, the Love FM High School's debate is moving into the much anticipated round of 16. The journey so far has been nothing short of electric, with schools across the Ashanti region showcasing their brilliance and boldness in debating issues of national interest. And Irabna Akwe reports.
10 schools have successfully booked their spots after out-debating their peers in a series of contests that saw passion, precision, and power on full display. The establishment of SHS and Osei Tritre SHS earned their slot in the next stage despite losing earlier contests.
We will protest until we are declared winners.
Their high-scoring performances were enough to push them through, underscoring just how competitive this year's event has become.
Forestry Commission officials have all been known to accept bribes from illegal miners in exchange for turning a blind eye to the menace.
So far, the debates have tackled bold motions like tax equity, gender-based policies, free market.
using generators. That's a fish aggregating device to put light in the water, let the fishes come, and then they encircle them. That is not as detrimental as even they go the next step by exploding. That's using dynamite. And that kills all of them.
Dynamite for fishing?
Dynamite fishing. Dynamite plus light.
That's like terrorism, isn't it?
Exactly. Dynamite plus light. So it not only kills all the fishes, but it even destroys that whole environment. And so that happens. That's by our own fishermen. Yeah, and so all these end up just destroying the fisheries.
And I just don't want to be flippant about the earlier point you talked about on the cycle, because we've done extensive work on that. Of course, many reports, documentaries pointing out to how this has become a very, constant practice within the fishery sector. Where does the challenge lie more? Is it with the bigger vessels, or this is more artisanal in nature?
No, it's a partnership.